Welcome to another episode of our Founders Podcast. I'm your host, Ash, and this is a show where I interview proven founders and industry experts who share their stories, strategies, and insights to help you build, launch, and grow your business. In this episode, I talked to Richard, the CEO of Sharper the Spear Coaching. Richard Walsh's story is one of resilience and transformation. After 20 years in business success, the crisis hit hard around 809, leaving him with nothing but valuable lessons. As a Marine, champion boxer, and a black belt, Richard tackled the challenges head on while caring for his wife and six young children. He rebuilt his life and became a mentor, helping other entrepreneurs find balance in faith, family, finance, fitness, and friendship. He authorized he authored the best-selling book Escape the Owner's Prison and is now on a mission to help 10,000 small businesses thrive. Today, we will hear about his journey and insights. I hope you enjoyed the show. Richard, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ash. Great to be here. I'm excited.
Great. Do you have a favorite quote, something that inspires or motivates you that you would like to share with our audience?
A quote? Yeah. Here's my favorite one. I learned it 25 years ago, maybe longer, 1995. Here it is. It goes, dedication to a goal that never wavers, resolution. This is the basic principle in the life of every truly great character. He who resolves upon any great and good end has by that very resolution clothed himself in power and has scaled the chief barrier to it. That is my favorite. I've had it on my gym walls. I think I put it in my book. And I attribute it to a guy named Steve Ilg, who wrote the book Outdoor Athletes.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have it attributed to anyone. He just had it in this book. So I'm giving him the credit because it was brilliant. And I memorized it like the day I read it. And I've been saying it ever since.
Very wise, actually. Very wise. Great. So tell us about yourself. How did you came across this? Let's get a step back. Tell us about your journey because you have so much interesting life. Tell us about where did you started. Can you take us back to your roots and share with our listeners about your upbringing, childhood? How did your early experiences shape your journey and eventually led you to become a visionary entrepreneur you are today?
You bet. Yeah. So went in the Marine Corps, got out of the Marine Corps in like 1987 and had to get a job, started working. I actually swung a pickaxe, digging trench in Tucson, Arizona. Very exciting all day for $5 an hour, high pay. And it didn't seem to be going anywhere, obviously. But one day, Ash, I got a guy asked me to do a side gig. And there they spread granite, right? So it was rock. They spread instead of grass and stuff. So he said, can you move this from the street to the backyard, spread it and everything? Sure, I can do that. I kind of work hard every day and sweat. So I did this. It was like 35 tons of granite. And I did it in about 10 hours on a Saturday. And the best part, Ash, he came out and he gave me $1,000.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm looking at $1,000 in my hand going, wow, I kind of did the same thing yesterday for 50. Okay. So I'm like, I think I know my future. Okay. I'm going to work for myself. And that really began the whole journey. And I started a landscape business that turned into a custom water feature business where I then was able to scale and grow that. Became number one in the nation. I was really great at doing that. That was awesome. Again, 20 years built on that. 0809 hit, the big financial collapse. Now I was a luxury item. People didn't have to have what I offered. But at the same time, I always tell people, yeah, my business collapsed. I lost everything. But it wasn't because of 0809. Okay, that was just a big indicator that really exposed all the things in my business I wasn't doing. I was focused on making money and getting awards and being number one. I wasn't really making the business run the way it should. So that just exposed that kind of house of cards and it collapsed on me. Early 09, we lost our house. I had 6 small kids at the time. Had to liquidate everything. We had to move, right, go to another state, move from Chicago to Wisconsin. And during that time, I'm thinking '09 is coming along and we're limping through it, right? I lost $500,000 on November 5th of '08 and it just kept going off the cliff from there. And it was rather traumatic. But I also realized, I said, for 20 years, I've been chasing being number one. Business first, build a business, get the awards, get published, do all this stuff, right? And I started thinking about my six kids who just love me. I come home, they attack you, they jump all over you, they just want to be with you. One of my kids chased me down the driveway, crying when my truck is leaving. And I'm like, man, what am I doing? And I just realized that, you know what? If I stay on this course of business first, it's everything. Win, win, win. Push harder, gain more. I'm going to actually ruin my children's futures. They're going to have broken marriages. They're going to have failed relationships. They might do well at business, but it's going to be bad at every other aspect of their life. And I said, well, I'm not going to do that. So that was my big epiphany. And I just walked in and shut everything down. Now it was over anyways. I just sped up the process. I said, I'm not going to do this. So then I had to we moved, we relocated. I had to figure out what I was going to do because I did not know. I knew I wasn't going to do what I already did. I wasn't going to start that again. I wanted nothing to do with it. I'm a internationally recognized steel sculptor, top water feature builder, world-class exhibits, all this stuff. I'm like, nothing. I gave it all up. Maybe not the best idea at the time, but I did it anyways because that's how I operate. I'm all or nothing. And I had to rethink. Now, the challenge for me, Ash, was I want to still do business because I'm pretty much unemployable. You don't work for yourself for 20 years and then just go get a job somewhere. It's not going to work out so well.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way, at least for me. So I said, okay, well, how do I start a business and have a balanced life? You mentioned those 5 F's, right? So the faith, family, finance, fitness, and friendships is like really cool. And when people talk work-life balance, they always hear that cliche all the time, right? You need work-life balance. But what I found is, first, they don't know how to do it. They just like to say it. It sounds cool, and they walk away and leave you there. But when you have a business and you're running your business, the only way you can work on the 5 F's, those things, is if your business is squared away. If you got a hot mess in your business and it takes you away all the time because you don't have it systemized, you don't have it self-running, well, the other 5 are irrelevant because you don't have the bandwidth to work on it. So the first thing you have to do is fix that. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to build a business so I can do all those 5 and have a running business. And that's what I did. So I opened a gym, did boot camp style training, scaled that. That was great. Opened a contracting business, doing roofing, siding, windows, built the same thing. I just wanted to be around when my family needed me. I don't want to be a stay-at-home dad or something like that. I wanted to run businesses, have them do really well, but also have the margin in my life to do those other 5 things, right? So that started going really well. People started asking me like, oh, how'd you do that? How do you go from 0 to this? And so I started mentoring them, showing them. And then, of course, being an entrepreneur, mentoring is great. That's kind of the free position, right? You're giving free advice out. Coaching, you get paid. You get paid for coaching. So I'm an entrepreneur. So I want to move in the coaching space so I can build a business. So I built a business. See, I couldn't even work for myself. I had to build a business and get inside that. And that just took off and started doing really well. I'm helping a lot of businesses and getting their businesses squared away and get them over to get that balance. And that kind of brings us up to where we're at today. So that's pretty much the origin.
Awesome. This is very wise, Richard, because you see, I'm already thinking that success is not about having 100 million in a bank account, and it is not just having like a family. It's a combination of the 5 F's you mentioned. You need to have your finances sorted. You need to have your healthy, because what the money is has any value if you don't have a fit body, because you can't enjoy it. Then you need to have a family, because why? You know, if you're doing all these things, if you don't have a family. And then friendship is so important, because every time my dad visits me, he's quite old now, and he has everything. He has worked for 35 years of his life, and he has visited more than 30 countries. But what he tends to say to me is like, now after being 70 years old, I enjoy my friends. I enjoy the time I spend with them in morning walk. I enjoy the time I go out on a birthday party with them. Even though I enjoy the family time, but friends are so important. And the faith thing is so important, because if you can't believe, I mean, it's not about religion, right? It's about the faith you believe you have in yourself. I'm already thinking if I ever write a book, I'm going to use this five F's in that. That is so
Yes, well,
awesome.
yeah, it's good. It is really important. And when you break it down, like you said, like let's talk, we'll go to the end here. And friendships, I have, and that's kind of a joke in my family and my kids and stuff. We talk about how many friends I don't have. I said, well, if I lost three fingers on one hand, all my friends could still fit on that hand. Okay. because
That's a good one.
because I'm really selective on who I'm with. I mean the inner circle friends, what I call trench buddies, the guys who have your six. You can go to
Yeah.
war with these guys, or they're going to go down with you, right? They're going to go all the way. Now I have other circles, and I have friends, and then I have acquaintances and business things and things like that. Those are all important as well. But the ability to have just a couple really good friends, because in the early time in business, I couldn't even really have that because I was all business. Building, especially in the building stage, is very difficult. So, and like you said, go back over the faith. To me, it's a critical aspect. It's something that's part of me, and it's number one for a reason, because that's where it all begins. Family, again, you can not have family. Okay, you could be single. You could be 20 and single, and you're building a business. Awesome, that's what I was. But the family aspect it's not just balance. You're pouring into, like, I have six kids, so I have to pour into six kids. We want to train them up. We actually homeschooled them all the way through, right? So now we're educating them, we're teaching them, we're having life experience with them all the time. They're well traveled, right? We've been everywhere with our kids, up and down the country, across everywhere, doing things, but really sharing way different elements of their life, and they're mixing with all different ages and everything else. That was a huge part of what I wanted from the very beginning, even before we had children. That was kind of our goal. And then the finance, I did some really bad finance stuff, right? First 20 years, I made a lot of money and then didn't have any. Poof, it's gone. Okay,
Yeah.
that's bad finance. Okay, I tell people you definitely don't want to be me those first 20 years. It looked cool on paper, it looked cool in the magazines, and looked cool on TV and all that stuff. But there's a lot going on in the background you never know. Remember that about pretty much anybody, especially social media. Right? It
Yeah.
looks pretty out front, but in back it's a mess. So now we have to reorganize that, and something you have to pay attention to, right? Again, you have to have the margin to do that. And then fitness, being fit was always part of, I was a Marine, I was a competitive runner before that. I'm a champion boxer, a black belt. I do all this stuff, but I still had my periods where the stress of running a business all by myself, really take everything on. You're getting three meals from a window. You're not living the way you should. You're not working out. You're gaining weight, and it just drags you down. It just
Yeah.
makes every part of your life bad. So, I've turned all that around. I said, I'll make that, I was so into it, I opened a gym, so I didn't have a choice but to be fit. Okay. So I've really got into it, but, and I love that. I love training people, I like working with them anyways. And then, like I said, from there, you're left with the friendships we already talked about. Right. But you get all those things and a successful business that's systemized, runs itself. You work on only 5% of that business, and you're doing the vision stuff and the strategies, bringing in the big clients. Like, how are you not happy? Right?
Mm.
That's the
Interesting.
balance. That's the balanced life. That's a life to be exemplified. That's what you want your children to see. And because they'll grow up in that as it's normal. Right. And in my case, it was absolutely abnormal because I never did it before. But then once you get it and your kids come up, they see, like, well, what's so hard about that? Right. Meanwhile, no one else can do it. Right. But they're
Yeah.
able to live in it so they understand it. And I think that's where the power is.
Yeah, and what I also noticed is you have a very different name for your service, like Sharpen the Spear. How did you came up with this name?
So I have a warrior mentality. I am a warrior, right? I do that. I think business is war.
Yeah.
It's an endless war. Okay, there's battle after battle of the battle against obscurity, the battle for profit, the battle for everything, right? So I wanted to kind of hold to that because it kind of stirred my spirit, because a dull knife, a dull spear is ineffective, right?
Yeah.
You can't really do the job it's designed for, so you got to keep it sharp. So my tagline is honing entrepreneurial warriors on the battlefield of business. So I got to wrap it all together, and I got a cool spear, and I wanted to set the tone, like, and not like crazy war, but this is what we have to do every day, right? We're warriors trained. We train every day. we're fit, we're mentally sharp, right? We know how to handle ourselves, right? We're confident, we're able to go into battle knowing that we're trained up and prepared for this. So the whole mindset needs to be of preparation, train for the day of battle. If in business, that tends to be every day, right? So we have to keep our skills sharp. I still hit the bag every day. I still physically train hard. I keep my skills up even at my age. Okay. But I think it translates so well into business in my point of view that it just seemed to be the natural thing to do, and
Am I allowed to
yeah.
am I allowed to ask your age? Is that okay?
Yes. How old do you think I am, Ash?
Um, you look so young. You'll be like around 55, 56.
Yes, you're close. 58. So you're almost
There you
there.
go. Yeah.
I think you should have been saying like 50 or 45 or something, but that's okay. You're I'll take it. That's good. As I get older, it's just, but yeah, I'm kind of, I don't feel old at all. I mean, I work out super hard
That's the
every day.
important bit.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't have retirement plans. I use my favorite saying of all time now is people go retire. I go retire. You mean retire, put 4 new tires on and keep going down the road. I go, that's the only retiring I'm doing. Okay.
Yeah.
So I keep going. There's no, I mean, what am I going to stop doing this for? I love it. I'm helping people. I'm doing this. I'm doing everything I love. It's so much fun. It keeps you totally sharp every day, because you're solving problems and working with other business and helping them. Like that retiring stuff. That's just, I know it's for some people, but not for us.
Yeah. And you know what? In my culture, we call our uncles mama. Like if you have a brother to your mother, we call them mama, right? And my mama always tells me that entrepreneurs never retire. They never retire. They always they work till the end, basically. So I remember his words.
Yeah, we don't shut it off, right? We go
Yeah.
home. Everyone else, they punch out and they go home and they don't think about work till the next day. We just don't. Now, in the whole work-life balance, all that stuff, like the goal is to be able to turn it off, but only turn it off in the sense that you're not worrying. Like I'm still thinking about the next thing, like improvement and stuff like cool stuff. Not like, can I make payroll Friday? I don't want to be thinking about that. Okay. I want to be thinking like big things like, man, you know what? If we could do this or do this, you know what that would be like? Because now I have the margin to do that. I get to work on all the cool stuff, not the day to day. Right. So I'm with you on the entrepreneurial mindset. It's ever learning. You're just learning all the time. You're growing all the time. I mean, I feel bad for the people who don't get to experience that because that's what fulfills your life. You know?
Yeah. So Richard, take us through the services and the coaching and mentorship you provide to your mentees. So how does it work? So let's say, for example, a founder or a business owner or a startup person comes to you. They want some kind of help, like they want some kind of mentorship, coaching to, let's say, get their first 100 customers. What's the step-by-step process? Take us through the whole funnel, and then how does it work altogether?
Sure. So let's do. It doesn't matter if you're a startup, you're mid-season. I work with people who have a business for 40 years. And we go and we'll help them. So it's not really, that doesn't matter. I kind of have a niche. They're at a certain place, right, where they're kind of stuck. Maybe it's the 1 to 10 million a year, or somewhere 20 or 30 million. They want to do more. But what they haven't got is the freedom, right? So the first thing we talk about, and it's kind of counterintuitive, is we go through their exit strategy. So like, well, what's the goal? What's the end goal? How long do you want to do this? When you get out, what do you want for all the time you put in? How much? How much is enough? Do you have to have a number? Like, or is it the old John Rockefeller, just $1 more? If I just had one and you're chasing the dollar all the time, you need to decide how much is enough. Now you need to decide how I want to do this for 10 years. Okay, I'd like to get out at like a $10 million exit. Okay, so that's what I want. Okay, great. At the same time, I'd like to build the business. To get 10 million, I should be making about $1 million a year in active business income. Right. So that'd be my salary that I'm pulling from the company, active business income. Now, the problem is I get to the 10-year mark. I actually get my $10 million out. But Well, what do I lose? $1 million a year,
Mm.
right? My active business income, because someone else is
Exactly.
making that now, right? They came in.
Yeah.
So now I know that because I started with the and they go, okay, well, that means I have to acquire assets along the 10-year path.
Mm.
I need to get assets that are going to generate me like $83,000 a month so I
Mhm.
can replace that million. Okay, well, what does that look like? How many homes do I have to rental homes or business investments or stock annuities? What do I have to create that so that when I get to 10 years, not only do I get my 10 million, but now I'm still taking in $1 million a year in passive income, right?
Mm.
So if we go to the end and then reverse engineer, we understand all that we just talked about. We understand when we're going to hire our first person, our second person, our third person. We understand exactly where we're going to go. We can eliminate distraction. We can be very on purpose what we do. Because even if you're just starting, you're going to work very hard. It's very difficult. You're going to wear a lot of hats. You're going to do all that. There's no way around that. But you do have that light at the end of the tunnel. You understand what's coming. You know exactly what you're working for. It's a critical element when you begin. Now, you've got that. Now, I prefer people have that before they launch. Okay. And if you didn't do that, the next best time is right now.
Mm.
Like, don't wait, like, put this together today. Like, start to build this out. Don't wait another year or 5 years because most people go really hard the first 2 years, right? And they get the business established and making some money. But next thing you know, because they didn't have an exit strategy, didn't really have a plan, 10 years goes by and they've repeated the first 2 years 5 times.
Mm.
And that's why they're stuck. They can't scale. They can't grow. They have to do everything, right? So what we want to do from there, right after we finish the exit strategy, is go into what's called strategic vision. We want to create the vision for the entire company, not a mission statement. It's the vision. Where are we going to be in the next 18 to 24 months?
Mm.
Like, what does it look like inside the business from the customer journey from the inside? So the first call comes in. What does that look like as you weave through every single person involved in the company? And you write this. It ends up being a 6 to 10, even 12 to 15 page document. But everybody's in there and it shows where every individual in the company is the hero and they're part of the journey. They have exact purpose on why they come to work and what they do. Because purpose is the number one driver. Next is like feedback and recognition. Third, maybe even fourth, is money. Okay, so money is not the principal driver for people because if it was, they'll sell you out for 50 cents an hour to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so you gotta build the purpose, build the vision, and everybody on the team works to fulfill this vision. It can get tweaked along the way. You can rewrite it again and make it even better, right, as you go. And that starts to create your company culture.
Mm.
Right? You always hear another cliche, just like work-life balance. Oh, you need good company culture. And that same person walks away. Right? And they don't tell you how to do it. Well, what is that? Like, how do you do that? Well, do a vision-driven business. You have culture because we're like-minded. We have a decree. This is how we operate. This is why we do what we do. This is who we serve. This is how we serve them specifically, right? We have all that laid out. And this is how we're going to achieve it. We're all going to work to fulfill all this, right? So when people come, they know where they're working. They know the lane they're in specifically. They know exactly what they're supposed to do. So if we hire someone who has any semblance of competency, they can thrive in the lane. They can do well. They're not figuring out how to run your business. No worker wants to come, Ash, and build your business. They want to come and do what they do. So if they're great at sales, they want to come and do what? Sell.
Sales.
Close deals. Let me close a lot of deals. Give me the ability to make money for you and for me, right?
Yeah.
If they're an HR person, they want to work with people. They want to get your policies and procedures in place, and they want to help everyone do smooth transitions and all that stuff. Office managers, same thing. Whatever you have, they will be able to skill because you allow them to. They have the place to work. They know exactly what's expected of them. They know the consequences, right? So that's where we go with the business, right? We try to really get them dialed in that way. Systemization means everything operates, right? We're able to put people into systems, not systems into people, right? You understand everybody leaves. That's a business 101 thing. I don't think they tell people enough. Everybody's going to leave. It might be in 5 years, might be in 5 days, might be in 20 years. They're all going to leave. And a lot of them for great reasons. They may hit a ceiling at your business. They want to do more. Well, God bless them, man. I hope I school them up, and I want to make my people the best people no matter where they go. So when
Mm.
they go to their next job, their boss, whoever hires them, goes, "Where did you come from?" Man,
From
they taught,
Richard Walsh.
right. They're like, "Well, man, they taught you well." Like they're on it. They know exactly what they do. So that's my goal. Like I'm more happy about that. I'm not
Mm.
making anyone stay. I don't want slaves. I want to build people up as people too. I want them to become better people. So they're able to become better humans, take that home in the community. They're able to, their families then can grow. So that's what we build in the business. So when I'm looking at what to do, if I'm going to help you or you're starting, again, that's big picture, right? Now we usually take about 12 months to do all this, to get them fully systemized and build all this stuff out. And then there's the next level right from there. But that's a game changer, life changing process because the big goal is to get you as the owner to work on the 5% of the business only you can do. And this vision, right? That's landing big clients. That's understanding where we're going to grow to, right? You don't need to worry about accounting. You're not worried about the HR. That should be handled, right?
Yeah.
You are the visionary. You're the founder. You're the one who drives. And we all get in business for that reason because we want to do that, but most never get to because they're stuck. They're stuck down here in the day to day, or they get some of it, but they can't get all of it. It's hard, and that's the owner prison. That's escaping the owner prison. Being in their trap where if I leave for 2 weeks and I got to call in every other day to make sure the place hasn't burned down, like you're a prisoner. You're just on work release. That's all you just on work release. That's no good. So we need to be able to go away for a month and come back and everything's good, maybe even more profitable. That'd be good too. Because I've trained everyone they're able to do that. So that's a basic process, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It does, and it's quite deep actually. So let me discuss a hypothetical customer, your ideal customer persona, right? A lot of our listeners, they are either founders of startups, they are either in their journey at an early stage where they're building their MVP or starting the service or business, or they are at the stage where they have got first investment from either VCs or angel investors or some kind of organization with the grants, etc. Now, I have interviewed quite a lot of people. Majority of them are founders from startup background, right? Most of them, either they have a leverage of product, so they understand the product which they're building, they come from the same industry, or they have a leverage of network in that industry, sort of like they can bring most of the knowledge from the network. But all of them struggle with this one thing, which is getting business traction, leads, this kind of stuff. All the time whenever I'm publishing these interviews online, the comments pour up and say, "Oh, Ash, can you please ask this question to this gentleman, that how do I generate more leads for my business and how do I get more business?" And I'm guessing that's the fundamental question all the entrepreneurs have, right? For example, take an example of me. I run a small SaaS business, Art Circles, right? You, as a community builder, you can just go register yourself, get a meetup group there, and then suddenly you start charging your community member like $1 a month or $10 a month. The reason you're charging them is you're delivering value, you're doing one-to-one sessions with them, you're coaching them, you're providing all these things, and suddenly you're getting like $10,000 $20,000 every month just because you're giving this value out. Now, the challenge for me is I get like around 400 clicks from Google every month on my SaaS product, but only 5% of them is actually converting into a free customer. And then out of that 5%, only 0.05% is converting as paid customer. So this is kind of very technical, but very businessy challenges we have in our startups nowadays, right? How do you navigate through these challenges with your program, and how do you kind of support the entrepreneurs and then potentially basically get them answers which they're looking for?
Right. So the hard part is I'm not a sugarcoat kind of guy. I'm going to be pretty hardcore with you with answers and things you need to do. And it's probably going to be unpleasant for a little while because, if you want leads, if you need to make sales, which is what every business needs to do, I call it the fuel for the economic engine. Your business is your economic engine and it needs fuel, and fuel is sales, right? It's not leads, it's closing deals. It's not talking to people. It's not prospects. You got lead, you got prospect, you have client. Lead is poof, someone rang the bell, right? Clicked on your thing. Prospect is someone wants to hear more. Okay, great. Now you got to hear more. And that's where you're at right now. Now you want to become a free person, right? So that the hear more might become a free person. Now you need them to pay you $1 a month, $10 a month, whatever. Now they're a client. Okay. At whatever level, you might have 3 levels of clients, right? That could be client level number 1. Okay. We get that. You've built that out, but here's what most people do. They want to go right for the high ticket. Okay. They don't want the $1 a month. Like I want a $45,000 coaching client. That's what I want. Don't you? Don't you want someone to come and pay $45,000 instead of $1? Yeah, that's easy math. Okay, we can do that, but you don't get to do that for one reason. No one knows you, so the no like trust, no like love. Okay, someone's going to cut you a large check is because they have a lot of respect for you. They've seen your content. They've engaged with you. You've solved previous problems, just like you do things for free, right? It's called a value ladder, right? They come in free, then they go to $5, then they go to 10, then it's 1,000, then it's 45,000. So what people don't want to do is the hard work in the beginning. They don't want to knock on doors. I mean, the virtual door, right? They don't want to go talk to people. They think they can just turn on some automatic thing online. It's going to generate money for them. The reality, especially in the beginning, you still got to do face-to-face. You got to engage with people. You got to help them. Now, here's a little trick. Okay, here's a practical that you can do. So I want a $50,000 client, right? But they're not just gonna. The old analogy is you walk into a bar. There's a woman, beautiful. You go up next to her and ask her to marry you. Is she gonna say yes? Okay, you're doing the same thing with the give me $50,000. All right, it's the same thing. So it's buy them a drink, talk to them, blah blah, go on dates and all that stuff. That's the analogy. But what we want to do. So how do you do that from a business standpoint? So you've got a way, you got the free, you got $1, $10, that's one way, but you got a higher ticket item. So if you got to go that part, that's a long time to get to that big number, right? So how do you speed that? So here's an idea. Why not go in and let's say, take me, for example, I have a 12-month program. Okay. It's $50,000. Okay, great. But why would you do that right off the bat? Why would you do that? How about I say, okay, Ash, tell me something. Give me a challenge in your business right now. And you go, well, here's my challenge. They got this, and it's kind of hard. I can't seem to break through on this. Okay, so I'll tell you what. Why don't we do this? How about if I solve that problem for you? It's only going to cost you $800. And I'm going to solve that problem for you in the next 30 days. Would you be willing to do that? And if I can do it, which I will, then we'll talk about the full-term program. Is that a deal?
I will jump on that. I will jump on that deal because right now I'm just converting 5% of 400 people. But if you get me 50%, that, even with 0.05% conversion, it will increase my profits by 30, 40, 50% actually.
Right. See, so you do what they call mini projects or whatever it might be, right? So don't make them get everything. And here's what I did this yesterday with a client who does hardscapes, so like brick patios and really beautiful work, high-end work. Well, those all start 10,000, 20,000, same thing. I said, well, let's take the same concept. How about the people maybe hemming and hawing? It's a pretty big number. They're not quite sure why you're the guy to do it, even though you have referenced all this stuff. Say, I'll tell you what, well, you did want this walkway out front. How about we just start with the walkway? That's $2,000. Let me put in this walkway, and I guarantee you're going to love it. I'm going to have the perfect curves on this. It's going to look fantastic. Let's start there. If you want to do more, we do the pay. We'll get right into it. Is that fair? And they're like, oh. So now they've lowered the barrier, right? To lower the risk. They can do that. And a lot of times the people go, you know what? Let's just do the whole thing. Because you're willing to go, I'll show you what I can do for a much lower cost, right? Put this in. Now they have it in stages, just like what I'm doing with coaching clients, right? So there's just a little technique. You got to rethink how you're doing your business, but you got to talk to people. You got to build a relationship with people. That's how you get the big number. You don't get it because you're awesome. Okay. I'm like, just because you're amazing. Okay. No one knows care. The joke I use with my kids, because I do a lot of podcasts, right? A lot of guesting. I said, I'm an unknown celebrity. So no one knows me, but I go on shows like yours and I talk to people and I love doing it, but no one knows who I am. It doesn't even matter, right? But eventually, like, hey, I saw you here, then I saw you here. Now they start to know me. Then they call me. We book a call. We talk. We chat through their issues. I offer that little mini project, right? We do that. I get in, and now I'm filling my pipeline with $50,000 clients. Right? Because I have that technique and I'm patient and I understand where people are at. You got to meet them where they're at. So I think that's what the impatient entrepreneur suffers from. And we've all been there. We want to move. We need big money. We like big money. Okay. But you got little steps, faithful in the little, you get to the big. And that's what we want to do.
Great advice. Great advice. So I think what I have learned, now is it's not just about the problems you're facing or the challenges you're facing in your business, but is also knowing and having the right direction to tackle the whole problem or the whole piece of challenge into small steps so that you can sort out the first small part of it, maybe sort of couple of them, understand that how you can resolve the whole big challenge or the problem, and then that potentially gets you more results, right? It could be like tangible asset based problems in your business, or it could be a mental or a process or a system issue, right? That's interesting. And I want to also touch bases on the fact that, okay, let me ask another question. Instead of can you share a compelling case study that highlights how a company or a founder or a mentee leveraged your coaching, your mentorship to achieve success and solve their key business challenges?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I work a lot with people in the construction, the service and trades industry, right? So home remodelers, custom home builders, plumbing companies, things like that, right? So I have a remodeler in business. I'm working with him about 3 years now. When we started, he's doing 12 to 15 jobs at a time. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of plates to keep spinning. Okay. Doing about $2 million a year. Okay. So, but out of his mind. Okay. Because it's just, everything's a hot mess. Now he does great work, right? Which is kind of a caveat to one of my entry points. If you don't do good work, I'm not working with you. Mm-hmm. I don't promote bad things. Okay. You got to be great at what you do. But so he came in, but here's the problem. No time for the family. Okay. Still working for the next draw, right? The next amount of money. All these projects are going, all this outgoing and no incoming. 15, 12 jobs, trying to get subcontractors and in-house people and do all, it's insanity, right? Mm-hmm. Doing this. And he'd been doing that at the time about 6 years at that pace. Okay. So I came in and I said, okay, how about we do this? Would you be okay if he only did 3 or 4 jobs at the same time and made 2 or 3 times the money? Like, I figured that should be a yes, right? So I think, but how do you do that? I have to do 12 now to make 2 million. You're telling me I can make 3 million, 4 million, and do a third? I go, yeah. Okay, well, let's entertain that idea. So people entertain that, how that's going to happen. So now we have to start a process. And here's the case study. So first thing we do is we look at these 12, 15 jobs he's doing. What are you actually getting for these jobs? What are you charging for these jobs? And we throw out a number. So average kitchen is $43,000 at this time, right? I said, oh, wow, you really do some nice work for $43,000. And so I always go to pricing first. Because almost everyone, bar no exceptions, they don't charge enough. They do not charge for the value they're delivering. Now, some might be close, but they need to deliver more value. So it works the other way too, right? We always want to deliver more value than we're being paid for. That's a basic principle, and if you have to adhere to that principle,
Yep.
always deliver. 20 years of building my custom water features, nobody first ever said I charge too much. The majority of people say I don't charge enough. And Ash, I charged a lot. Okay. I was not cheap. Okay. I made a lot of money. Okay. And I still over delivered on the value. Right. So we need that. So we figured that out. We started looking at, okay, well, we're going to raise your pricing slowly. Okay. And we're going to increase your value at the same time. And the third component is going to be what we call your ICP, your ideal client profile. Who should you actually be serving with the quality of work you do? What is that? Who is that client? You've done some really big jobs, nice jobs. Who's your favorite client you ever worked for? Okay. Oh, it's Mrs. Jones. She does this. It was great. We did $100,000 kitchen one time. And okay. Tell me more about Mrs. Jones. All the details. What kind of house does she live in? How many cars does she drive? How many kids do they have? Where do they go to school? The whole thing, right? Where do they hang out online, offline? Are they country club members? I want to know everything about them because that's going to be your new clients.
Indeed.
These other people are going away. Okay. So looking at just that, okay, that's the first part we started looking at. Okay, now we start looking for the right target, saying no to some jobs, right? So we're saying no because they don't fit our ICP, right? They're not understanding of the value that we bring, right? There's those people, the Walmart people and stuff like that, that dollar is all that matters. Those aren't our customers.
No.
If prices are only concerned, we don't want to serve them. There's plenty of people to serve those people.
Yeah.
And good luck to them. Okay. So we start doing that. We start saying, okay, we land that. Oh, now 1 year later out of just that focus, we're now at an average of $93,000 per kitchen. Okay. Went from 43 to 93 for the same kitchen. Okay?
Interesting.
Now we're doing 3 and 4 jobs, right? And that's for year one. Year two, all of a sudden, our kitchens are at $140,000. Now we're doing 150 kitchens and then the baths and these remodels. All of a sudden, we hit $3 million, and we did a third of the work. Okay.
Interesting.
Now he gets to go to the beach for a week with his family. Now he gets to go home. Now he has a project manager. Now he has a client advocate. Now next level. So we did that, right? Okay, that seems pretty awesome. Everyone will like that. It's still not there because let's use a remodeler experience. I can give you 5 pictures of 5 different kitchens, perfectly redone, right? They're all beautiful. Now let's go to that home and talk to each homeowner. Oh, I love your kitchen. It's beautiful. Yeah. I go, well, tell me about it. I said, well, I'll tell you, I'll never do it again. That's the normal response again, right? Because why? Because the experience was so horrible. Yeah. They don't show up on time. They don't do what they say. Everything's dirty. They don't close things off. There's dust in the living room. They're working on the kitchen, right? I can't use the bathroom for 3 months, because they're screwing around doing that. All the bad stuff. So all the end products are all the same, but one who's my guy, they say, you know what? I'll tell you, this is one of the greatest experiences I've ever had. From the first time we called, how they handled us, how they talked to us, brought us to. They have a client advocate. I only talked to one person who handled everything. So anything issue I had, I talked to her. She brought it to the team. They took care of everything. They did exactly what they said they do, on time, on budget, kept us in full communication. Right? We created a world-class experience. People pay for the experience, not really the end product.
Yeah, the premium price.
Because everybody's got a construction horror story.
Yeah.
Everybody, right? So this is how you change. So I hope that gives you kind of an idea from a case study. Now you're only dealing with the high-end clients and you're all referral. Because who does Mrs. Jones who spent $160,000 on their kitchen? Who do you think her friends are? Right?
Like
other Mrs. Joneses, right? So, and she's going to say, you got to use this guy. You will love the whole experience. And that's like when you tell people my house is going to be ripped up for 2 months, 3 months. Okay, their heart starts going, right? They're going to live in this, because you got to be. But when they say you will love it, you'll love it. Or as my client said, he always tells them, well, the best thing is when we get done, we're still going to like each other. That's what he tells them because, that's how those things end. So, hopefully that kind of drives home the value, the experience, and what people truly pay for.
Indeed, indeed, and thanks for sharing these golden nuggets, with your wisdom, because that teaches a founder or somebody like me who is in his early journey, that it's so important to understand your ICP and your market, your industry, because no matter how good you work, if you don't have time to, and if you don't price it right, you will end up working harder and getting lower paid for it. So that's so good. It's so it's eye opening for me, and I'm enjoying this conversation so much, but we are limited of time, as you know, like Richard. So,
Right.
before we jump onto our quick fire round, I would like to ask a personal question to you. So throughout your journey and experience, there must have been some valuable lessons learned. If you don't mind sharing, could you reflect on your experience and tell us about one mistake or a setback that you encountered along the way, and then how the way that you now consider it not a regret but a lesson learned, and what advice would you give our listeners based on this experience?
Yeah, so we could talk about the mistakes and failures I made for hours. Okay, so there's a lot more than one or two, but I'm going to go to one. The biggest one in my first 20 years of business was not asking for help. And I mean, like today you can get a coach in anything. 35 years ago, not so much, right? No internet, no anything. But I had brilliant clients, big money makers, super successful guys, more successful than I ever would be, willing to give me information, say, hey, maybe you should do X, Y, and Z. I would say no, shut down. I'm doing this. I know what I'm doing. What do you know? I had this ego and this pride that kept me from accepting help. And you look back after everything collapsed, everything they said was right.
Wow.
If only I had listened. Okay. So put your ego in a box, lock that up. It's good to be ambitious. And as I like to say, or a good friend told me once, ambition only belongs in the passenger seat. Ambition cannot be in the driver's seat. It'll ruin you. It'll drive you off a cliff. So you got to drive, you got to be ambitious, but that's got to be in the passenger seat. But you got to get the help. So like what I do, Ash, we compress time. You know what help does? When they save you a year by giving you one nugget, just like I did today, maybe we're going to go, oh, that mini project, you'll start making money like in the next day because you decided instead of 50, I asked for 1,000. Right. So it's a whole different thing. So you've got to accept help. Don't be so proud that you think you should know it all, because you don't, and you never will. And you'll compress. I compress 10 years for people. Right. And costly mistakes, bad decisions, bad finance, all that stuff. So that's the big one I got for you.
Got it. Thanks for that one. Richard. So, okay, so let's go into our lightning round. I've got 6 quick fire questions for you. You can answer them as quickly as you can. Great. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. What's one of the best piece of business advice you have received?
Systemize your business. That was a game changer. So.
Got it. What book would you recommend to our audience and why?
Ooh, not mine, right? Not including Escape the Owner Prison. That's a given. It's a great book. It's a great book. Another good one is, I would say, and this is recent, is a book called Grit by Angela Duckworth. Really, really good book because it's all about perseverance. It shows the greatest people who have done the biggest things. It's not intelligence. It's not resources. None of the stuff that people think or that Harvard will tell you you're supposed to. It's about persistence, never giving up.
Awesome.
She's a researcher. It's unbelievable. So I'd say that will inspire you, and also help you understand what you're up against.
Awesome. Perfect. What one attribute or characteristic in your mind of a successful founder?
I'm gonna say just ever learning. The successful founders are always learning because they learning creates innovation. Innovation is what drives a company.
Indeed, indeed. What's your favorite personal productivity tool or habit?
Ooh, waking up at 4 a.m. 7 days a
Oh
week.
my God, it's 4 a.m. That's too early
4
for me.
a.m. Four, here it is. This is what I do, just so if you want a little measure.
Yeah.
4 a.m., I wake up, hit the head, 32 ounces of water go down. I drink 32 ounces of water. I also drink two 10-ounce coffees, a special mushroom coffee, performance mushroom coffee I do a Bible study. I spend about an hour in the Word. 5:30, I go to the gym. I do a high-intensity interval training workout for an hour, come back, get cleaned up, make my breakfast, so I eat exactly what I want to eat. The rest of the day is golden. That's my routine.
Awesome. That's super perfect. I have started waking up 35 minutes before my usual waking up time. I want to continue that for next couple of months, and then I'll improve it like more 15-10 minutes. Let's see how early I can go.
It'll
Okay,
change your life. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, great. So, what's a new or a crazy business idea you would like to pursue if you had time and money?
I have one, but I can't share it
That's okay.
because it's that good. It's that good. We're rolling that out now. So
Mhm.
let me think of another one that would be crazy. You know what I'd like to do? Crazy, like if I had time and I just, and strictly for fun, really. I really would like to take people on, and we do a few already. We do retreats and stuff, but I want some like full immersion, like leadership retreats, like hardcore stuff, like
Mm,
take you for 2 weeks and change your life. And it involves, close quarter combat. It involves shooting. It involves education, mindset, eating. I mean, just that, like you just come and we transform people in a 2 week period. That'd be
mm.
fun.
Interesting, interesting. I've heard that in states there's a sort of like a festival for general people where you can go register and then you get to do all these kind of crazy games there. I don't know the name of that product or service, but it comes like every 3 months or something. I'll search it and I'll send you the email.
Yeah.
Okay, and the last question, but not least, what's an interesting or fun fact about you that most people don't know?
Most people don't know. Let me think. I don't know. What would people not know? I think you got me stumped. I don't know what people would know about me. Well, I still, like I talk about training, I still hit the heavy bag. I still box.
Hmm.
Like when I train like there's an opponent. So if you ever
Okay.
see me in the gym working out, I'm like an animal in a cage. And people
Mm.
like watch because I go as intense as I can. I've never given up hard training. So a lot of people think, oh, you work, they say you work out, people go walk on a treadmill. Well, I'm keeping skills sharp, hitting, I could show you video. But I think maybe that's it. Like people don't, I think maybe that's it. They don't get, people say I train hard and
Mhm.
that's a relative term, right? Come
Yeah,
hang
yeah,
with me. I'll show you training hard.
yeah. No, as you mentioned the word animal, I would like to suggest that there is a Bollywood movie called Animal. It was released last year. If you ever had a chance, if you had a relaxing day, watch it with subtitles. I'm guessing they have subtitles. It's a story about a father and a son, and it's so interesting that somebody shoots the father here. He doesn't die, but then it's the story of revenge the son takes whosoever did that. So it's interesting, but it's named Animal,
Wow.
and that's why I bring it
Yeah.
up. So maybe you'll like it. But yeah, there you go. Well, thanks, Richard, so much for joining us today and sharing your inspiring journey and impactful work you're doing with your coaching. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on the Founders Podcast. If people want to check out or connect with you, what's the best way?
Sharpenthespearcoaching.com. You
Great.
can contact me through there. And can I give them a special gift, Ash? Because
Sure.
they're your listeners. If you go to sharpenthespearcoaching.com, go down to my contact page, send me a one sentence email that says, Richard, I heard you on Ash's show. I'd love the free Audible copy of your book. That's all you got to
Awesome.
say, and I'll send it to you. And you get to
Awesome.
hear me read it for like the next 2.5 hours. So
Awesome.
you got it.
That's great. That's great. Thank you all for tuning into this episode of Founders Podcast. I hope you found our conversation with Richard insightful and inspiring. And don't forget to go to his website and go sharpenspiritcoaching.com and send him that email from the contact us page to get your audiobook delivered to your email. If you're a founder or industry expert interested in sharing your story on our podcast, please don't hesitate to reach out. Simply email me at ash@artcircles.com. Stay inspired, stay motivated, and keep building.